Hello. I just wanted to share this video that I put together about my experience with Martin overhauling our Atmos clock that we've had for 20 years and it's never worked right. I had it serviced by a local clock repair guy and he completely ripped me off and never touched it actually. Thank God he didn't hurt it. Martin's work is amazing and you'll see the videos that he sent me throughout the process. And I will just say now, don't even question having the suspension spring replaced, just do it because it gets more of the clock overhauled and it's just gonna be right. So, you're going this far into it, just do it. Let him do it and do it right. This clock is consistently at 600 degrees amplitude and keeps perfect time. I had to make one tiny little adjustment to the speed on it and that's it. So enjoy the video. It's about 10 minutes long, so get a cup of coffee or glass of wine or whatever and enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, John, your clock arrived. That is it over here. The clock looks pretty good. Everything seems to be in good condition. The impulse roller was inside of the fork during shipping, so hopefully nothing was damaged. I don't think it was. Your case looks like it survived very well. No chips, no breaks. This is your bellows. It appears to be made, is that a 64? I think I see a 14.764. Big question is the bellows good? So it's about 72 degrees Fahrenheit, so it'll be a little bit more plump than normal, and I am getting about 28 millimeters. I suspect when it's 70 degrees, this is closer to 30 millimeters. So your bellows is still good. Jeffrey Kitt says anything over 33 millimeters needs to get refilled. It does have some ethyl chloride in it, but just keep in mind, you may be putting some, refilling your bellows in the next, who knows, it could be 20 years, it could be 30 years, it could stay at this level forever, but clock arrived in good condition, looks terrific. Okay, John, these are all of your parts cleaned. I think the clock base turned out really nice. The dial looks terrific too. There we go. The movement, all of that white chalky stuff that was on the movement is no longer on the movement. I think the front of it really turned out sharp. Okay, so frames look terrific. These are all of the components of your frame, weights. The balance turned out nice. The fork was ready in exceptional condition. I've already assembled and lubricated your main spring that's been installed in the barrel. These are all of the components of your movement and they are in very good condition. Once they got cleaned, they really turned out really nice. Okay, and of course we wanted to remove your old suspension spring. So this is the old or the bottom regulator clamp. This is the top regulator clamp, and this is your suspension wire. Notice how it's not straight. It has a couple things. It comes over here, it curves up, around, and then back up. So it has been twisted at some point. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. This wire should be perfectly straight. Hopefully you can see that. I'll get to the point where we install a new suspension spring and you can see what that looks like compared to the old one, but this one's going in the trash. The movement is nice and smooth after cleaning. I always check the movement with the fork not installed. This is your new suspension spring. Notice how nice and straight the suspension spring is. That's the upper regulator clamp. We have a flat spring and lower regulator clamp. Here I'm poising the suspension spring and the balance. The balance has to be perfectly straight. So here is where your suspension spring gets poised. We have to make sure that that suspension spring is perfectly centered in the tube. To the left, you will notice that that is your fork. So I'm poising the fork along with the suspension spring. Two extremely critical parts of the overhaul that most clock makers do not perform. Okay, John, I'm just going to give you a quick recap of the work that has been done on your clock. You are up to 525-degree amplitude. Now it may drop off once I put hands on, although that's usually not the case. So here's things that were done to your clock that were not expected. This is the spring that is on the back of the clock. I noticed your clock spring was very weak. I was only getting 2 rotations out of the winding arbor. I should get 5 to 7. Now, I was a bit perplexed because you have a really good mainspring, so why am I only getting 2 rotations out of the barrel? Well, when you think about it, this spring, as it collapses, has to be in equilibrium with this spring. So if this is a weak spring, you'll never get a good wind out of your mainspring. So I have a couple of these on the shelf. I went and got one and I compared it to yours, and I pressed them both down together. And I noticed yours took very little effort to press, which means it's got very little effort to push back. So I'm not going to charge you for this part. This is your old spring, and I put a new spring in, and then I was able to get 5 rotations out of the winding arbor, which brought me within specs. So the clock performed very, very poorly with this spring. I've never had to replace one of these springs before, so that was a first. And then I had to make small adjustments to banking pins. There's 2 banking pins on the balance, and what was happening was your escapement was capturing the pallet jewel at a little bit of a wrong position. It was just off by maybe not even 1/10 of a millimeter, maybe 1/20 of a millimeter, but it's enough that I noticed. I observed the pallets through these 2 little observation ports under a lot of magnification, and I had to make an extremely small adjustment to your right banking pin that is on your motor to get everything to work properly, and that's why we have a clock now with high amplitude. And then of course, this is that stud. It was stuck somewhere in here. It snapped off. I do have lots of these screws, so I'll put a new one in there for you. Okay, so next step is going to be, this is gonna run overnight. If nothing changes, it doesn't slow down, tomorrow I will get hands and dial on and begin the regulation process. And let's see, I don't know how much of this we can see. You have a nice new, there we go. Nice new suspension spring. Look how long that is. So this will get cut off to about here when the clock gets cased. Okay, so that is your recap for the work so far that's been done to your clock. John, this is just a little teaser video. I will probably get a complete video for you tomorrow. Now that is the bolt that was stuck inside of the bottom of your frame. I got that up, but we're gonna count these motifs. So that bolt's a good place to start. So there's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you are gaining amplitude because at 2:30 I had 16 motif revolutions. That's 480 degrees. It is now about 3:15. So in less than an hour, you have gained another 30 degrees. So that'll put you at 510 degree amplitude. John, it's 12:58, Monday, February 17th. You are running just a little bit fast. We need to add weights. You want to know what your amplitude is. So right there is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and there you have 19, and that is approximately, what is that, 570 degrees? It's very high.
Growing. Okay, got the Atmos back. I'm gonna open it up. All right. sit this on the floor. Get it out. Okay. There she is. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 600 degrees, and it's keeping perfect time.